Prepare for it, wait for it, Ramadan arrives all the same. Assalamu alaikum everyone, it's us again, Ezi
and Julianne.
We're here to talk about some tips that every Muslim can use this Ramadan.
So these tips will come from two different perspectives, me as a new Muslim and Ezi as a raised and experienced Muslim. So just for some context, I have been through 3 Ramadans, 1 in Singapore and 2 in Scandinavia, which have like 18 plus hours fasting time. And once in 2020, I was completely alone for Ramadan. So I have a bit of experience of being a lonely revert during Ramadan. Mm-hmm. And Izzy have like 20 plus...
20 odd so years of Ramadan.
Yeah, and 1 in Scandinavia.
And just 1 in Scandinavia,
yeah.
Yes. Ramadan comes around only once a year. So it's very vital that we begin our preparations now instead of when Ramadan begins. So Ramadan is a time to reset, recharge and reconnect. It's a time to reset all of our bad habits, to erase any bad habits that we've accumulated over the past year. It's a time to recharge our Iman battery. When life gets going, it's easy to prioritize other things than the deen. Whether it's work, school, or whatever project you have in your life, it's very easy for your battery to drain. And Ramadan gives us an opportunity to put our deen front and center, as well as to recharge our Iman battery. And lastly, to reconnect. The gates of hell will be shut. Shaitan will be restrained and locked down. And this is the perfect time to reconnect with our deen and our faith. Also, you've heard of the term a Ramadan Muslim. He's only a Muslim during Ramadan, so he only fasts or do good or salah during Ramadan. That type of language is very derogatory as well as condescending. These types of people, they need guidance. And if they're doing it in Ramadan, alhamdulillah, maybe it's a stepping stone.
And it's not helping anyone that people are calling other people Ramadan Muslims or the memes about it. Like, it's not beneficial and it's not gonna motivate anyone to do better after Ramadan. So don't do it.
Yeah.
There's a big L.
If anything, we should encourage these acts so the people that are Ramadan Muslims will continue these acts and just be more supportive of your brothers and sisters in Islam. If they're trying to reconnect with their faith, we should do everything that we can to help them.
So here are some tips from your favorite YouTube couple, and I hope it's beneficial.
Hopefully your favorite, I guess. I don't know.
Of course.
Well, they're not our favorite now. So our first tip, get hyped, get excited.
Woo!
And do something different. Like we said before, Ramadan is one of the most blessed months and is the most beneficial month for us Muslims. So we should be excited about this. We should get ourselves going and do something different. Sometimes it's very easy for us to just let Ramadan pass us by. And the next thing we know, oh, it's Shawwal, it's Eid already, it's Hari Raya. So to avoid that, do something different, be extra. If you've never decorated your house and get that feeling and that mood of Ramadan going, try and cultivate that. Try and do different things that will encourage this Ramadan spirit and feeling. And just to touch on that, to put it into an analogy, when you have a job interview, you get dressed up. You feel good because you look good. When you have guests over, you're going to clean the house, you're going to decorate the house and make it look good. And the same applies with Ramadan. Ramadan is going to be the most esteemed and valued guest you're going to have in your house. So treat it as such.
And for us new Muslims who might not have been through too many Ramadans and we have more experience with other religious holidays, it can feel a bit conflicting and it can be a bit of a touchy subject. But try your best to focus on, like you said, making it look nicer. Decorate around the house. It doesn't have to be a lot of expensive stuff depending on the situation you're in. When I was alone during Ramadan 2020 because of the COVID and everything, mm-hmm. I had cardboard. I literally cut out like a crescent moon and stars and I painted it with like old nail polish yeah. That was like glittery nail polish and hung it up with yarn and glue in my apartment. So it doesn't have to be super expensive. It doesn't have to be those crazy stuff you see on Instagram, all the influencers do. Just put a bit more effort into it. Inshallah, it will help you get into that,
that
happy feeling.
Yeah, that mood.
So as I mentioned earlier, in 2020 I was alone for the whole Ramadan because he was stuck in Singapore. The masjid was closed. Was not many Muslims around where I lived, and I didn't really have any Muslim friends in real life or around me. So I didn't have that community. I didn't have anyone to break my fast with or start my fast with. I was completely alone with my cat the whole time. And of course, it wasn't super fun. But my tip here, reach out online to people, to sisters or to brothers if you're a brother, and just befriend people online. The online community really helped me during that time. I was a part of a sister group chat, I was a part of a Ramadan sister Facebook group, and there's a lot of these groups and like events, Zoom calls and all these things available. You just have to look for it and be proactive. And of course, if you're able to and there are Muslims in your area, of course reach out in real life as well, not just online, but like try to see if there's any sister events at the mosque or any events really that you can attend.
And start connecting now, start networking now. So when Ramadan comes around, you already have like a little group or some support system that you can always contact and just exchange notes.
Something that I think is really important and something I like to do either way, but especially for Ramadan, and I'm sure everyone has seen this, like have a Ramadan planner, schedule, put everything down. And as a new Muslim, as someone who has less experience, it can feel very overwhelming, and you see everyone or see a lot of people writing down very big goals that you don't feel like you can even dream about right now and where you're at. So start with small goals. Focus on the fard, like focus on the obligatory things to perfect those, and write down smaller goals. Don't compare yourself to where others are in their situation, their journey. Don't overwhelm yourself by having a ton of things that you want to do during Ramadan, and then you feel unaccomplished because you barely got to do maybe a third of it.
Whether it's a few surahs, an entire juz, or even just a few adhkar and zikr, try and memorize something. Because long after Ramadan has gone and passed, that will stick in your head. If you memorize something during Ramadan, you can always draw from it and use it whenever.
A quick tip for new Muslims, if you haven't learned Ayatul Kursi, is a really good time to learn it, because that's something you can use literally every day. Several times a day. So if you haven't learned that, I'm not going to say it's better than to learning a new surah, but keep it in mind. Something I have done in the past is finding some short surahs and finding like kids videos on YouTube on how to learn them, how to memorize them, and just focus on that during Ramadan. Use kids videos. It's easy, it's slow enough to kind of follow along for someone who doesn't know Arabic. There's no shame in using kids stuff.
And speaking of daily goals, try to make it a point to give charity every day. Whether it's $2 a day or $10 a day, try and give every day and increase it if possible in the last 10 days of Ramadan. You might go, but Ezi, I'm broke. I got you. Charity doesn't have to be in the form of something monetary. A smile, wearing a smile on your face counts as charity, as well as helping somebody. That also counts as an act of sadaqah. So if you're broke, smile or help someone.
Reach out to a Revert.
Yeah, reach out to Revert. Reach out to Revert.
My throat is so...
I know.
And a form of... So my biggest tip for Ramadan, honestly, is don't let your Ramadan fast, day one, be your first fast. If you haven't fasted before, try to do sunnah fasts beforehand.
It's like a test run, so you know how your body reacts and what you can adjust and change for what's to come in Ramadan.
And for my new sisters out there, and this could also of course apply to raised Muslims, but for our sisters, we can't fast when we have our period. We know this. But what can be very tricky, if Ramadan comes and you get your period and you're not sure about the different rulings or opinions regarding when your period actually stops. This can be very frustrating because you don't know, you don't want to miss out an extra day, but you don't want to fast when you're not supposed to. So prepare before Ramadan actually starts. Research, look online, look at the different opinions and see, just decide which opinion you want to follow regarding your period. I really recommend using a period tracker beforehand if you already haven't used one, just to get to know your cycle, especially if you have irregular periods, so that you can kind of see what is your normal length of period, so that you're sure that this is the start and this is the end and I can start praying and fasting again.
Brothers, if you have periods, there's something very wrong. A very essential and important tip for Ramadan, clean your fridge. People tend to buy a bit more food during Ramadan because they're hungry and they buy with their eyes. Having a clean fridge will help you organize as well as to prepare for what's to come. Also, you will have leftovers because you probably won't eat as much as you think. So having a clean fridge is going to be a huge help.
And if you're someone who's alone during Ramadan, or you might not have too many people around you to help with the grocery store trips, make sure to take trips, either more frequent or bigger trips before Ramadan starts, so you can kind of stock up a bit, because you might be super tired during Ramadan and going to the grocery store is not always fun when you're fasting, you get thirsty, you know. And yeah, it would be very helpful just to have it stocked up.
And now we come on to the topic of foods. Make use of prepackaged or instant foods. So what you can do with all those prepackaged foods is do a bit of cooking to upgrade and maximize your foods. So for example, if it's like an instant ramen, you can upgrade it with a protein or with some type of egg or vegetable to make it a bit more substantial and filling. Don't be afraid to try something new. Pesto, for example. It can be a really good base for a pasta or a bake. It's not particularly expensive and it's ready to use right out of the jar. So try pesto. And next we'll be talking about the pre-dawn meal. Sahur, sehri, whatever you call it. A really easy way to plan your pre-dawn meal is to just upgrade your breakfast. So whatever you have today and whatever you have for your daily breakfast, for example, toast, upgrade it to egg toast. So it's a bit more substantial and filling and it can last throughout the day. Me personally, I like bread, I like buns, and I like cereal. So I would make and freeze buns beforehand. So I can just pop it in the microwave for like 30 seconds and it's ready to go. Have it with some juice, some fruit. I'm good for the day.
Coming from a Nordic country, we eat a lot of bread, like bread for breakfast, lunch, supper.
Dinner
you know,
sometimes.
dinner is the only really hot food that we have, or like hot meal that we have. So I'm not used to having a hot meal for breakfast, which some countries or like people from other countries are. So what I would do is just, again, stick to what I know my stomach can deal with, what I feel best with. If it is bread or toast, add avocado, maybe if you have leftover chicken, you know, eggs, just make it, add some protein, add some carbohydrates, and yeah, you're good to go.
We just prayed, so different lighting.
Outfit change.
Different outfit.
Too lazy to go back to my jilbab.
Yeah, but the same amazing duo. So I would recommend and suggest getting these two things before Ramadan, one of which is a tumbler or bottle, and another is a counter, a tasbih. You need to rehydrate as much as you can between iftar and sahur, and if you have a bottle, it's going to be much easier to help you accomplish that. So the next thing is a tasbih. Don't let your hands be idle during Ramadan and onwards. Always have a tasbih in your hand so you can just count your zikr, count your adhkar. You get the rewards and you get like that personal accomplishment of feeling how much you've done already. So, yeah, simple tip.
I'm 21. Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
What?
A stock is a really good base and it is a really easy way to upgrade your foods. If you're having plain rice, if you cook it with chicken stock or chicken soup, it's gonna taste much better and is less active cooking time. And marinades, it's a very easy way to amplify the flavor with minimum efforts. There's a ton of different marinades and it takes zero effort almost to, it's not even cooking really, it's just mixing a bunch of different ingredients together and you get a marinade. It's easy to make.
Even I can do it. So to all new Muslims, maybe this is your first or second Ramadan, you know yourself best. Don't worry too much about what other people are doing. You know what you can do and don't stress about the things that might feel very unreachable right now. Focus on what you can do and keep in mind that fasting is a constant act of worship. If you think fasting is a struggle, then alhamdulillah, you're still doing it. How many hours do you fast? And it's a constant act of worship. It's pretty amazing.
And for those who are a bit more experienced, push yourself, double your efforts, and make the most of this Ramadan. The idea is sustainability. You want to build on this Ramadan and carry you forward throughout the year to the next Ramadan. There will be days where you're going to be tired, you're going to be lethargic, and that is absolutely normal, but try and do something rather than nothing. Push yourself as much as you can, but don't overwhelm.
So these were our tips for Ramadan. I really hope it can be of benefit, and please share with us your best tips for Ramadan so that we can all benefit from it and learn from it. And yeah.
May Allah SWT allow us to see and meet this coming Ramadan, as well as to accept our fast and worship. Amin Ya'raab. So have a good Ramadan. Bye.
Smile away, boys.
Smile.
Boom.